We played two separate audios from Muhammad Ali. May he rest in peace. One of the saddest things for me is last week on Tuesday, it was reported that he went to the hospital and he wasn't feeling good. And they were like, oh, he's okay. He's stabilized. And then 2 days later, that's when the news reports came in that he had passed. And I was just like, I felt that comfort that, he's okay. He's stabilized. Just for 2 days later, you have no idea when our last days are at all. So, of course, I want to give my condolences to his family, my love, and just everybody who's ever loved him. I want us to focus more about the audios that I just played. Who was he as a man? Because, I'm just here for the comments. I read a lot of the comments when it comes to the videos and stuff and Twitter, and they are so mean on Twitter that, he's nothing but a Muslim. We're over here mourning a Muslim for what? Donald Trump is talking. Somebody made a comment about Muhammad Ali. Actually, they were disrespectful. They said Cassius Clay made more racist remarks than Donald Trump, and we're over here praising him. I'm just here for the comments. Hopefully you guys been reading some of these comments too, discussing how he ran away from his duties to fight for his country. And there's a word for it that kept coming up. I can't think of it right now. A draft baiter, something like that. Like, there's a lot of people that hated Muhammad Ali. Hated him for what he did, hated him for his confidence, hated him for the way that he continuously uplifted his black people, wanted to save his brother, to help his sister, to teach the youth. That's what it is. Draft dodger. He's a draft dodger. That's a Muslim. Why are we over here protecting him? Why are we over here celebrating him? There is a 2-inch thick book detailing every aspect of Ali's funeral that the champ signed off on in 2010 and made final revisions to just days before he died. The boxer's innermost circle started collecting documents on funerals years ago. He planned in exact detail how he wished to say goodbye to the world. The 74-year-old wanted the service held in an arena in his hometown. The center in Louisville, Kentucky has been chosen to host the event. Also, they wanted ordinary fans to attend, for every religion to have a voice. The final revisions were made days before he died with his family. One of the things that concerns me, it may not concern others, but it does concern me. It's posted on Facebook as well as Instagram and Twitter. 80% of Muhammad Ali's name, likeness, and his estate was purchased a few years ago. $50 million by a Jewish business executive, Robert F.X. Sillerman, owner of CKX Inc. Sillerman sold the rights of Ali, American Idol, Graceland, and more to Vulture Fund Apollo Management, not the Apollo Theater. In 2015, Apollo paid Bill Clinton through one of its subsidiaries $250,000 to speak. Where are these speaking engagements? Please, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7. How much would my time have been worth thus far? 500 shows. $250,000 for one speech. Lot of mercy. Bill Clinton is going to be speaking. One of the speakers at Muhammad Ali's eulogy. Pause. That bothers me. There are 3 individuals that are speaking. I want to know if this is in the Little Black Book. Is it in the Little Black Book for Bill Clinton to be speaking at Muhammad Ali's funeral? The reason why I had a problem with that is because his wife is running for president. Does anybody else see how these pieces fit together so beautifully, but disgusting at the same time? That was 2006, 2015. It was sold. In 2013, Ali's image rights were sold again in a deal which, according to sources with knowledge of the transaction, saw the family make around $2 million and retain 20% of their stake. Why not? It's Muhammad Ali. When you go back and you listen to the 2 clips that I just played about him saying, for the next years, he wants to prepare himself to meet God. He wants to teach. He wants to get real estate. He wants to own businesses. Why would you sell off 80% of your estate, your name, and your likeness? For me, it doesn't make sense. Anyways, the rights are now owned by Authentic Brand Group, ABG, a New York firm that also looks after image rights for Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson. ABG has struck licensing deals with brands such as New Era Cap, H&M, Dolce & Gabbana. It recently sold the rights to Under Armour for an Ali-inspired clothing line, and Supreme, a highly in-demand skateboarding clothing line, in conjunction with the Andy Warhol Foundation. How income realized to the Ali family will be distributed within the family remains unclear. Right now, we have no clue how that money is going to be divided up. I really don't care about the money. I care about the estate. I care about the likeness. I care about the name that the family does not own. That right there, I have pictures and all types of, Anari's first baseball t-shirt and Anari's first cleats when he was little. Truth be told, I have his first pair of Jordans, probably the only ones too. But I have these in case one day, Lord have mercy, they need to be auctioned off, right? So with my limited state of mind, not even being surrounded around businessmen and, all these great minds, I'm just trying to think, like, what was the decision to sell off 80% of the name, the estate, and the likeness? Even the likeness, you can get paid off the likeness of your name. And for you to know that you are the greatest of the world, I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. If anybody understands, please help me find the truth. This is another story piggybacking off of Muhammad Ali and his money and the lack of money his family is going to be receiving, just like Michael Jackson sold off his estate. I don't get it. Prince's money is all tied up and going elsewhere as well, but it is what it is. He lived a beautiful life. He taught us how to love one another. He taught us how to do better for one another. And I guess all we can do is pray that everything else works out the way that he would have wanted it. I want to give a huge shout out to my baby who won Miss USA, Miss DC. Wasn't that such a that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. She is an Army Logistic Commander. She was crowned Miss USA. Miss DC, whose father, mother, sister have also served their country, breaks down in tears as she won the national title. And then you go back and you listen to the audios that I just played of Muhammad Ali talking about why Miss USA and why Miss Universe look white, and they all these beautiful sisters, all these curves, all these complexions, but yet Miss Universe and Miss America is always white. I never understood that. You go back to that, and then you look in 2016 what we have accomplished. Yes, Deshauna Barber was crowned Miss USA at the T-Mobile Arena off of the Las Vegas Strip on Sunday night. The 26-year-old who claimed the title after giving a strong answer when asked about women in combat. Barber beat Miss Hawaii, Chelsea Harden, and Miss Georgia, Imani Javon Davis, who all three made the finals. At the start of the show, Steve Harvey made a cameo in a video poking fun at his infamous Miss Universe mix-up. But it is what it is, and she is so beautiful, and she is so gorgeous, and I am so very, very proud that, our little girls have somebody to look up to. It's a beautiful thing. U.S. and Cuba, this actually hurts my heart, U.S. and Cuba are currently in talks to have Tupac Shakur's, listen how they frame the story. U.S. and Cuba are in talks about having Tupac's convicted cop killer aunt, the notorious Cuban spy, exchange in a prisoner swap. If y'all don't leave my baby alone, we already know what happened. And after I watched How to Make a Murderer over these past couple days, and when I tell you, it doesn't take anybody with a lick of common sense to realize they set that man up. He spent 18 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And even after he was cleared of all charges for that crime that he didn't commit, he took the steps in which to sue those that imprisoned him. And right when he was at that finish line of making sure every single last one of them got their karma, he just came out of nowhere and just murdered somebody. The same person that it just, How to Make a Murderer, Steven's story. I can't tell you, like, every episode just had my blood boiling. Like, why is this even a real thing? It broke down for me just how corrupt, just how broken our criminal system is. And the fact that he couldn't get another judge. The fact that the nephew was as slow as I don't know what. He even admitted it. He was like, Mom, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I can't do what you want me to do. I'm dumb. She's like, baby, you're not dumb to me. That right there broke my heart. Because he was agreeing to everything. That baby said, I was guessing what they did. What happened to her head? What happened to her head? He hit her. He was guessing the entire time. Just, if you haven't seen it, the Netflix original, shout out to Netflix for all that they do. Because they come out and blow out when they release movies, documentaries, TV shows. Netflix got me all the way turned up. I stayed up for 24 hours watching all 10 episodes, trying to find out whether or not he was released or not. But understanding, taking that documentary and understanding what that looks like today, what that looks like in the past 20 years as far as our criminal justice system, and then going back to Tupac Shakur's convicted cop-killing aunt who broke out of jail. The two countries are reportedly in talks about possible prisoner exchange discussions, part of efforts to normalize diplomatic relations between the two, are said to be in the early stages. Among prisoners that could be released in the possible swap include Joanne. Her name is not Joanne. We'll go ahead and call Assata Shakur. We'll call her by her real name. She was convicted of killing a New Jersey state trooper in 1973. Montez is a former senior U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency analyst who was found guilty in 2002 for spying for the Cuban government for 17 years. They wanted Red Rover, send Montez right over, and we'll go ahead and give you Assata Shakur. So I really hope that does not take place, but we'll see, again, how that plays out. A father of a Stanford swimmer, the All-American swimmer, the All-American, that good old boy whose 6-month sentence for raping an unconscious woman caused so much outrage, his daddy pens an open letter saying that his son is paying a steep price for 20 minutes of action. In 20 minutes, you can kill somebody. In 20 minutes, you can take the life out of someone forever. Out of 20 minutes, you can steal somebody's dignity. In 20 minutes, you can steal somebody's virginity. In 20 minutes, there is a lot of damage that can be done. And for this father, the father of Brock Allen Turner, who is 20 years old, who is found guilty of raping a 23-year-old at a frat party, has penned an open letter about the sentencing. This 6 months is a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action. That he should have got what a black man would have got for raping a white woman. That's what he should have got. 6 months. 6 months is nothing. Dan A. Turner argued his son's jail sentence isn't an appropriate punishment and that his son, who loves to eat, can no longer. We don't care. We don't care. Do you care about the men that did have victimless crimes? Sold a little weed, sold a little cocaine. They were addicts. I just gave it to them. But you go ahead and take somebody's innocence while they're unconscious. Hey, 6 months. Our criminal justice system is a joke. It's a joke. And I hate it. I hate that this is the system in which that we live in. And watching How to Make a Murderer, there's no way. You can't fight them. You can't fight them at all. There is no winning. Brock Allen Turner faces up to 10 years in prison, but a judge handed him a 6-month sentence. At Santa Clara County Superior Court on Thursday, his victim confronted Turner, addressing him directly, and described the devastating impact the attack had on her. In an emotional letter, Turner admitted that he removed the woman's underwear, penetrated her with his hands, touched her breast, but always denied raping her. The former U.S. Olympic trialist withdrew from the university and is barred from campus. That's still, for me, not enough. 6 months is not enough. I want to go back to last week. Do not forget, by the end of the show, we are giving away tickets to, oh Lord, Body and Soul. I really did forget. Body and Soul will be playing at Hibernian Hall, and you know, I've been really thinking about that conversation that we had, and it touched me in an uncomfortable place in my heart. And I've been seeing, you know how when you get a vehicle, you start seeing those vehicles all over the place. Ever since we've had this conversation, and Miss Nubian called in and was like, if you want these liberal white women, you know, in the studio talking about sex trafficking, what they need to do is look at their uncles, look at their brothers, look at their sons, look at their fathers, look at their husbands, because those are the criminals. Those are the ones that are, you know, taking action. I'm like, Mr. Nubian's wrong. And she was like, no, actually, he's right. The face of sex trafficking is little brown faces with old white men. And all of, like, when I tell you there's 4 stories that I have, really quickly, catching a predator, Utah governor's half-brother. The governor's half-brother arrested for trying to have sex with a child after sending nude photos to an undercover cop posing as a 13-year-old girl. Paul Peters, 56 years old, was booked Tuesday into the Utah County Jail on suspicion of dealing in materials of harmful matter to a minor. Police claimed he was trying to arrange a sexual encounter with what he thought was a 13-year-old girl, but turned out to be an undercover cop. An Alabama, respected Alabama doctor, 80 years old, arrested on child sex abuse and pornography charges after he was identified on a grainy, abandoned video. His name is Dr. Rupert Don Bryan, 80 years old, was arrested after being identified as being on a video that was turned into police. Police say the video was filmed in the summer of 2003. It is unclear. Let's just say 2003 is when he started. He's 80 years old. Let's pretend 5 seconds. He started 2003. It's 2016. How many years did he have plenty of time to have victims? He was a doctor. He was a trusted doctor. He was a respected doctor. How many years if he started in 2003? How many children have been sexually assaulted since 2003? He's 80 years old. You think this just started? It is unclear exactly what was on the video, but one of the victims was reportedly physically helpless or mentally incapacitated. Police say that the alleged abuse has likely gone on for the doctor's lifespan, and they don't know how many victims are involved. What? How is this real? Pay attention to what's going on in this world. A 9-year-old girl practices using heroin antidote injection on her soft toys, on her teddy bears, in case her addict brother ever overdoses. This is ridiculous, but this is 2016. Audrey Stepp uses her dolls to practice administering heroin antidote. Her brother, Sammy Steep, is 26 years old and has been struggling with the addiction. She insisted to learn to administer the drug, which can block the effects of the narcotic overdose in case her big brother suffers a heroin overdose. Audrey does dry runs of filling up a syringe and injecting a stuffed animal. This baby should not have to. 9 years old, practicing how to give her big brother an injection because he's addicted to heroin. I want to give you guys a quick update. The 3rd annual Donna Summers celebration of Summer Roller Disco Party will be held Friday, June 17th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on City Hall Plaza. The family-friendly event is free, open to the public. The City of Boston will provide free rentals to guests on a first-come, first-served basis, and all are encouraged to bring their own skates if they're available. Again, the 3rd annual Donna Summers celebration of Summer Roller Disco Party. That should be fun, huh? In other news, a Mattapan supermarket says that it will stop accepting goat carcasses from the back of pickup trucks. So you guys know America's Food Basket in Mattapan. What was it? What was the old name of it? I can't think of the old name right now. But that place smelled horrible. Absolutely. I don't care. You didn't even have to walk in. All you had to do is be in the parking lot. Drive past it. It smelled like New Jersey all the time. But one of the things that they did was, you bring your goat, you bring your lamb, you bring it in, we'll cut it up for you and take it home. We'll charge you a little bit for the cut up. And that's about it. And I had this conversation last night. People were like, that's so nasty. That's so disgusting. You got to think about when you were in Jamaica. Think about when you were in Trinidad. Think about when you were in Barbados. Think about whatever country in Africa you came from. Think about Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. When you think about how y'all didn't need vaccines. What do you mean vaccines? All those germs, all that bacteria. You were immune to half of the things that they're injecting you with because, hey, I already got my shot. It was called, the goat was cut up on a rock, and Mama went home, cleaned it with some lemon and vinegar, and we ate it. I know here in the United States, we have a whole bunch of things that you cannot do. But hey, if the FDA is allowing Monsanto to take over your food, why can't I cut up a goat in Mattapan? I'm just saying. We currently have a call on the line, 617-282-0062. Good Rising, calling you live.
Morning, Tayla. I was in the money with the old name was. It used to be called Farmers Market.
That's what it is. Listen. They changed the name so long ago, I forgot. Don't beat me.
Hated that place. With going there.
But you know what?
Hate that place.
Let me tell you one thing though. Most of the parents that shop there had some of the best food on earth though. You ate some farmers market food before and didn't even know it was the best food you ever ate on earth. It was clean though. Lemon and vinegar. Lime and vinegar.
I saw that thing online first. And then when I saw it on the news last night, man, I was just like, yeah. And I was at work showing it to a coworker, and he was like, what's wrong with that? And then let's just say he's from the old country.
Exactly. He knew it. He knew what that lifestyle was about. He lived that life already.
Good. Something's wrong with that, man.
Hey, I think there should be absolutely nothing wrong with that. If the FDA can let Monsanto poison and chemicalize your food, what's wrong with taking a goat to Market Basket, having it chopped up? Same thing now. Love and appreciate you, baby. Hope you have an awesome day. Good rising, Mr. Nubian.
How are you? I was going to say, the lady that won the award, I've seen a lot of praise and shout-outs on these different African-American sites, and the thing that they were stating is, I'm glad America appreciates Black beauty, which when people say Black, you should say African, because Black is a color. But we don't celebrate African beauty. Most of our features, because of the diluted European blood in us, made us brown. A lot of our women are pressing their hair, burning their hair, weaving their hair. The day we truly accept African beauty is when I see someone that looks like he just came from Uganda, dark skin, I mean like purple black brothers and sisters with natural hair. That's African beauty when you don't have a drop of European blood. And the truth is, many of us don't celebrate. Even here, people in Cape Verde, all the light-skinned, red-bone people with the managers, all our dark-skinned folks, they were the maids at the hotel or the jobs that no one wanted. Yeah, like the prime of white supremacy, it makes people of color practice from India to Brazil, everywhere. Like you see people of color, you see the high yellow red bones embracing these European features, and those who are dark, that's ugly. And we want to talk about fight racism. You can't practice white supremacy and fight oppression in the same breath.
That was something that I noticed when I went to Jamaica. When my cousin got married, we went to Jamaica. We stayed on a resort. I noticed as far as like the maids versus the front desk staff or the people that took you on tours, like there was a skin color difference. I don't know if they bleached up their skin or whatever, but there was like the light skinned lady at the counter. You wouldn't find a dark skinned person at the counter. And I thought it was weird, but she'd be in your room cleaning your room though. So I learned to stop disagreeing with you, Mr. Nubian, because on some level, somewhere, most of the time, if not 99.8% of the time, you're right.
And the weird thing, you have all these African Americans talk about, why these celebrities will just get money to date a white woman. Well, why should he not date a white woman? You're going to look like one. You're going to dress like one, act like one. He's probably thinking, why not get the real thing? Me, my fiance's dark chocolate. I love it. Matter of fact, I wish she would start wearing the weave. And I'm glad no one knows who I am because I won't get in trouble for saying this. But it's time for our women to embrace their natural beauty. Until the day you accept who you are, you're always going to be a slave. I don't care how many Harvard degrees you have, how many, accolades you have professionally. Until you accept yourself, you're always going to be a slave. You're just going to be a rich slave.
Thank you, Mr. Nubian. Love and appreciate you. He said, I wish you stopped wearing the weave. One of the things I do want to say is we have an influx of women that took the natural style. And I was speaking to a young lady who was absolutely beautiful. I can't think of her name right now, but she looked like orange is the new black, the crazy one. She looked like her, and just her features were so beautiful. Her hair was so beautiful. She told me that she was Puerto Rican, and she is the darkest in her family, and her mother used to straighten her hair. And she decided when she went to college that she was going to let it kink up, and it's gorgeous. And she said that her family disowned her for leaving her hair in its natural state, and her mother said, you ruined everything I did. Like, to hear her story was absolutely remarkable, and to know that yes, it is across the board. It doesn't matter where you go. Dominicans and Puerto Ricans will never admit fully that they're black. They won't admit they're African. They won't admit their African roots, and this is a problem that goes on in the culture where even Cape Verdeans are like, nah, I'm Cape Verdean. Baby, where is your country located? Where are those islands located? They won't admit it. They will not. You will hear a small percentage of Cape Verdeans call themselves African. That's it. How the government tried to use Snowden's own emails to discredit his claim that he raised his concerns with the NSA superiors before the mass leak of documents. Newly declassified documents show that Edward Snowden was a CIA asset. Documents also reveal the government's efforts to discredit Snowden. Basically, when he came out and told you the truth, they were like, nah, he's lying. He's lying. Don't listen. He's crazy. Check your email. What we want to check the email for? Listen to your phone calls. For what? He went ahead and went to his superiors first. Like, listen, we have a problem here. They want to discredit him and talk to him like he's crazy. So he was like, okay, let's go see if the American people want to hear this. If you don't want to listen, let me go see who does want to listen. Before he leaked the documents, Snowden said he repeatedly attempted to raise concerns inside the NSA, but following an internal investigation, the NSA recovered only one email that could potentially substantiate his claim, and they were unable to discredit him. So that baby got the truth out one way or another, and now we know today what we know today. I want to give a huge shout out to Michelle Obama. She said, we built America. In her final commencement speech as First Lady, Michelle Obama put on a classic show at the City College in New York. She even sent some subliminal shots at Donald Trump. Michelle told graduates that their story of hard work, perseverance, and giving back to the communities echoed the story of her own family. It's the story that I witness every day, she said. When I wake up in a house that was built by slaves, I watch my daughters, two beautiful black young women, head off to school, waving goodbye to their father, the President of the United States. Mrs. Obama went on to remind graduates that while the founding fathers might not have imagined the day when the black man could be president, all of you are very much the fruits of their vision. Their legacy is very much your legacy and your inheritance. Don't let anybody tell you differently. You are the living, breathing proof. Thank you, baby. She said, we built America. Thank you. Again, I just want to remind you, in case you didn't know, I read this story last week, and I think I might read it for the rest of the year. Catholic Church has spent millions of dollars lobbying for a law not to be altered. This law states that after a child hits the adult age of 18, they have 5 years to report whatever sexual, like the statutes of limitations. They are trying to limit the statutes of limitations because a lot of, some of these young boys that were sexually molested by their priest come out when they're 43 years old, come out when they're 50-something years old, come out when they're 28 years old. But if you turn 18, we put the statute of limitations on for 5 years. Guess what? You only have 5 years to snitch, baby. You only have 5 years to get some of this money out of the Catholic Church. You only got 5 years to get up your strength and courage and say, you did it. Priest so-and-so, that my parents still attend the church. Priest so-and-so, where the whole community goes and worships. Priest so-and-so did this thing to me. You have 5 years after you turn the age of 18. And the Catholic Church is spending so much money trying to make sure that that bill is changed. Can you believe that? Just in case you didn't know, I just wanted to remind you. It's so messed up. It's crazy. But let that have been Creflo Dollar. Let that have been TD Jakes. It would have been in the news like crazy. President Barack Obama cuts prison sentences for 42 more drug offenders, bringing his total number of commuted jail terms to 348, more than the last 7 presidents combined. Roughly half of the 42 receiving the ability to get out of jail because they were in there for drug offenses and spending more time than the actual man that admitted that he, I don't know if that word is even available on air, but penetrated a woman with his digits, his fingers, sexually assaulted her, 6 months. Some of these drug offenders are getting years upon years, 20 years, 25 years, 32 years, 18 years. Out of these 42, half of them were serving life sentences. Most are nonviolent offenders, although a few were also charged with firearm violations. The White House said many of them would have already finished their sentences if they have been sentenced under the current, less erroneous sentencing guidelines. And I hope more are able to be freed before he is gone. And I would love for him to take a look at every single state individually and free by states. How many would be free in California if the laws that are now in place, not that 100 to 1 crack versus cocaine? I would love to see what that would look like really quickly because we are at the top of the hour. 11 military service members have been infected with Zika virus since January. The Pentagon finally reveals 11 active service members have been infected. All contracted the virus overseas. 4 women were infected, but none were pregnant. The Zika virus can cause babies to be born with abnormal small heads and brain defects. The military is at higher risk because of traveling to hot zones and longer periods of time spent outdoors. Right now, they have absolutely, hey, we're sorry, boo. It is what it is. With that being said, Big City 101.3 FM, waking up with Tayla Andre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. Good rising to you, kings and queens. One of the things that we are going to discuss today for Power Hour is talking to parents. I want to talk to parents, all parents, every parent. What mistakes have you made with your child, with your children, that if you could go back, you would alter? In other words, what advice would you give to new parents? And this, you could speak from if you have a 23-year-old, if you have a 54-year-old, if you are a parent of a child of any age, your wisdom is needed. Your wisdom is wanted. 617-282-0062. Of course, you can always remain anonymous and hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TaylaAndre. And this was actually requested from a new mom who had a child with a man that they were absolutely in love, and it didn't work out. And because it didn't work out, she feels as if she cannot parent this child on her own. And it's just like, Tayla, what am I supposed to do? Listen, I am not the greatest parent. So with that being said, I know we have many, many, many parents that are listeners that can give that advice. What mistakes did you make in the past that if you could go back and change it, you would? What advice would you give to new mothers? What advice? Because we live in a society right now where you can see a mother doing something completely wrong with her child, or maybe it could be done better, and you can't give her no type of advice. Transparency. When I had Asaria, my grandmother wanted to tell me everything in the book to do with her. I'm like, listen, didn't you raise your kids? Your kids are grown, right? We hard-headed, make a soft behind, and them kids whoop my butt. They whoop my ass. What advice would you give? I gave her some little tidbits. I gave her a few things that I thought would be helpful. But I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. Oh my gosh, and now he's 13. He turned 13 on Sunday. I'm not ready. But what about the 18-year-old? What about when you are really, you know what? As a matter of fact, I need some tips for when that whole puberty thing sets in, all those hormones start acting crazy. Because I keep hearing parents talk about some, all right, wait till them hormones kick in. You're going to have a different person on your hands. What advice would you give? What advice would you give to a new mom as far as finding a doctor? We just read about the most respected, revered 80-year-old doctor that was sexually assaulting his victims, his clients, his patients. What advice would you give about breastfeeding or formulas or hair, for that matter? You know, people feel some type of way when we have 6 and 7-year-olds entering kindergarten with fresh weaves, new braids with weave in it. I think that was something that my grandmother could not stand, when they put weave in them little babies' hair. All right, we got some anonymous. 617-282-0062. Tayla, I made a lot of mistakes when it came to my children. I have 4 children, and it seems as if the mistakes that I made with my eldest, I didn't make with the second. The mistakes that I made with the first and second, I didn't make with the third. The mistakes I made with the first, second, and third, I didn't make with the fourth. So it's really all about experience. But one of the things that I wish I had known was how to listen. I was raised in a time when children were to be seen and not heard. So when my children tried to speak, I silenced them. And I think that altered who they could have been today. Wow. 617-282-0062. Mama said, I wish I didn't silence my child. I wish I would have allowed them to have their voice. Would they be different people today? We have a caller on the line, 617-282-0062. Good rising, caller, you live.
Good morning, Tayla.
Hey, baby, how are you?
I'm good. I listen to you every morning. I love you.
I love you. I'm a hugger, so if you see me, hug me, baby.
Oh, anyway, right? I have an 18-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Hold on, time out, baby. You sound 18. What?
And trust me, people say it, but I'm 38.
Ooh,
and I have an 18-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 18-year-old is a boy, and Tayla off the hook because of me raising him without his father, spoiled him rotten. Now he has no sense of direction, and I have no control over him. So I would tell that lady that if she's going to be raising her kid by herself, she needs to know that material things aren't going to be the thing to help her. You know what I mean?
I do. As far as like just buying them everything and
because I think that's what steered him in the wrong direction.
So what would you do differently? You said spoiling him rotten, now you can't control him. What would you have done differently for that boy that you think may have shaped him differently? If you could go back 8 years, 10 years, what would you have done differently, or what do you think led you down the wrong path?
I would have gave him more discipline. Like, I went and let him get away with a lot of things, and I would have forced him to go to school. Like, it wasn't a force, because no one forced me. I pretty much raised myself. So it was like, Mom, I don't want to go this morning. So he just didn't go. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really think nothing about it until as he got older, and it started affecting him more. Like, he got to high school and dropped out in the 12th grade.
Hold on, he was right at the finish line.
And he's never been in trouble. He's not a bad kid. He just, I don't know. He just thinks that he gets to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it.
And that's because at one time you did let him do anything he wanted to do when he wanted to do it.
Troll him, like try to say something. He's like, please, I'm grown. So that's my difficulty with him. With the 6-year-old, the father's in the picture, so it's a little easier, but she's spoiled by him. And I'm the hard disciplinarian.
Do you have any men in his life that can guide him, that can speak to him, that can help him?
Oh, like I have fathers in his life, but you know how that is. He has 4 other kids, he's married, like he's there, but he's not there.
So he doesn't have time, in a sense.
I don't think it's time. I just think he just feels as though if I live with this child, then I'm going to take care of this child and their mother and forget the other ones that I had.
Where'd I do that at? Wow. As far as the listeners, do you guys have anything that you would like to add? Anything that you would like to discuss? As far as the 18-year-old situation, she spoiled him rotten, and now he's 18. And don't think for 5 seconds. I told Anari, I don't care if you're 18. You could be 48 years old. I'm still your mom. I'm still going to give you advice and tell you what to do. He said, I don't have to follow it. I said, you don't have to breathe either.
Oh, I tried that one too.
You ain't got to breathe.
Oh, my God. He bucked up to me. Scared me to... Oh, my God. Scared me to hell.
You know what would scare me about Anari bucking up to me is me really taking his life. That's what scares me. It does not scare me that he would buck up to me. It would scare me what I would do to him after I blacked out. Oh, I'm being honest.
His father. You just fucked. Oh, excuse my language.
You better learn jiu-jitsu. You better learn Krav Maga, hand-to-hand combat. Let's go. But you know what? That I cannot. So with Anari being 13, I can't say that I know how that feels. I do not. I don't know what it looks like to have a teenager that is bigger than me. He thinks he's a little something now because we can look eye to eye, but I can't imagine if he really thought that, I'm bigger than you. I got these little manly muscles. I can do what I want. No. You can smell all you want because I got some big dogs in my closet that'll come out and show you what your bark is really about. So what I'm thinking is, what about male mentors or any type of male figures in his life that could sit him down? Because I feel like if that lack of respect is already there, who is there that he can respect? Or somebody, if his father is no good and he is who he is, and you completely accept that. As far as the listeners are concerned, are there any programs for these young men who don't have the proper guidance, or, are there any, not just I Am My Brother's Keepers, but any like one-on-one teaching you how to be a man programs out here? Please let me know, because I'm going to put an hour in tomorrow. I hope we have somebody that calls in and gives us some advice as far as these male teenagers are concerned. Other than that, thank you, baby, for sharing your story. We have a lot of people, I guess, when it comes to kids, a lot of people don't want to admit their faults, don't want to admit their mistakes, so they want to remain anonymous, and that's perfectly fine. 617-282-0062. We have another message over here that says, listening to your kids, my daughter saw a man I was starting a relationship with, and she cried like the devil walked into our home. Need I say more? Wow. Listen to your kids. And I would say listen to your kids, because when my daddy brought home that trash he brought home that one time, and I told him about the trash, I promise you he took it out immediately. So I thank my daddy for actually listening and caring about my opinion. His wife now, I love her. I absolutely love Valerie. And he told me, Tayla, I necessarily don't need your approval. I really love her. I choose her, but I do want your feedback. And I love Valerie. I love my stepmama. Hey, Valerie. She probably isn't watching, but we'll see. We have another caller on the line, 617-282-0062. What advice would you give to new parents? What advice would you give to any parents? It doesn't matter if you have a 22-year-old, a 38-year-old, a 54-year-old. What advice would you give to parents? Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good rising, Tayla. How are you?
I'm super fantastic. How are you?
Alrighty. I have 4 girls.
Tell me about it.
And I'm sorry.
Tell me about it.
Okay.
I said, tell me about it.
25-year-old, 19-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And the 25-year-old and the 18-year-old by 2 different women. So, and my 19-year-old is my wife's daughter, and I adopted her. So, and it is really different to raise, 4, I guess you can say, growing women. And it's really something because you're being torn in like 3 or 4 different directions, trying to love everybody equally, and trying to keep everybody happy and satisfied and all that stuff. I'm in everybody's life, so it doesn't matter whether the mothers, me and the mothers don't get along or whatever. I mean, my girls are at an age to where I can spend time with them, and it's just, I spend time with each one of them. I talk to each one of them. I tell them how much I love them and all of this stuff. But, sometimes you're not always there and things happen, where they kind of get to that age to where they start experiencing meeting other guys and stuff like that. As a father, I'd always tell them, come and talk to me, sit down, talk to me, what's going on with your life. But they say they do that, but then once they start, falling in love with a boy or whatever, a lot of that stuff starts changing.
So really quickly, as a daddy, are these daddies girls? Like, are those your little girls? Those are your little princesses? And how do you, okay, what are their ages one more time?
My oldest is 25. My daughter's wife is 19. My other daughter is 18, and I have a 5-year-old.
Okay. So let's say with this 5-year-old, what would you do differently with the 5-year-old that you learned from the elder 3 as far as dating is concerned? Because the other 3 are already past the prom dates, the losing virginity, as far as our society is concerned. So what would you do differently, or what would you tell the listeners that currently have a child going through puberty, experiencing the whole attention from the boys and, the dating scene? How do you navigate those waters of having a girl in this hypersexual society that we have?
Well, my 5-year-old, we kind of keep the reins on her pretty tight. My oldest daughter, the best thing about it is none of them have children, which is, which is good, because they all have their heads in a direction to where they want to do something with their lives before they're 16, 17, 18 and start having children and stuff. Which is absolutely wonderful. My oldest daughter, she just graduated college. She has her communication degree. She's working a television station. My 19-year-old, my wife's daughter, she is in college and she is on her grind. She has a boyfriend, but she still is focused. My 18-year-old, she is working. She wants to go to culinary art school, and she's trying to do her thing as well. But like I said, with the 5-year-old, we keep the reins kind of tight. We try not to let her watch a lot of musical videos, because a lot of these songs now are so catchy that they could be listening to "I'm in Love with the Coco" and don't even know exactly what they're singing. And it's things like that my wife and I really have to work hard on trying to keep her away from. Say is that you develop a relationship with them and you tell them, you know, I'm your father, you know, or I'm your mother, you can come to me and talk to me about anything. But they say they do that, but then, you know, once they get to a certain point or meet a certain boy and they start, you know, experiencing sexual intercourse, and you tell them, you know, we're all human, you're going to go there, you know, but don't let him pressure you into it. Don't let him, you know, have sex with you raw or whatever. Just, you know, make sure you take care of the whole situation, because the dude is not going to do that. Okay? He's going to just want some and that's it. You know, if you have to, you know, because at a certain age, you know, when you take your child to a doctor, the doctor said to the parent, you got to leave the room now. You know?
Hey, after reading that story of the 80-year-old pedophile, I'll be right here watching. I'm not going anywhere.
Doctor talks to them and tells them, you know, if you're sexually active, this is how you protect yourself. But my wife and I, we talk to all of them, and we constantly talk to all of them and let them know, you know, you're a young lady, you're developing, you're getting older, and this and this and this, and it's just like these are the steps that, you know, we tell them about our mistakes, and sometimes, you know, my girls see a lot of mistakes that I've made with all of them, and so you know, you have to keep a dialogue with them. You know, but sometimes they get to that point where they don't want to start talking to you, and they start, you know, falling in love with some boy, and then they want to kind of start becoming, you know, private and stuff like that. And it's just like you got to keep breaking through that barrier, especially as a father, because you know, I told my wife this is a nightmare for me. But then again, I was one of those boys that was out there like, yo, I got to get this, I got to get this. But now the shoe is on the other foot for me, and I'm just like pulling my hair out.
Karma is an itch. It's in the middle of your back. You can't even scratch it. Look at that.
I'm gonna tell you, Tayla. I mean, I look at women a lot different. I look at teenage girls a lot different, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I was out here horn dogging like this.
Lord of mercy.
I'm looking at dudes like, dude, I will knock you out. I meet their boyfriends, and then, you know, if they take them out, I say, listen, you have my daughter with you. You better act like you got some sense. And they go, okay, sir, okay, all right, sir, thank you, sir. And I talk to them. I talk to the dudes. I don't want no dudes sneaking around my house. I don't want no dudes creeping in and out my, you know, when I'm at work, see this cat running out down the street. I'm like, oh, no. And I tell my daughters the same thing. You know, boys up in here, but I was that dude climbing out the window.
You know what? I was just about to say that. So me and my daddy used to have conversations. He got off of work at 9 p.m. Trust me, I did a lot of bad. I'm sweet baby Jesus. I don't know what's gonna happen to me when an hour in. Sorry to get of age, but my daddy used to drive past like different houses. Like I snuck out of that window. There's a girl from that house that I used to climb through her back window. You know, it's easy to climb on those type of back porches. Like I'm like, Daddy, are you serious? He's like, yes. You have to be careful. You have to be mindful because these boys will become what are those chimpanzees? The people that just hop over things, jump over things. Men get a different type of strength when they know they're about to get some cookies.
Poor people, parkour artists. Yeah, but when it comes to boys, Taylor, I mean, you know, like you said, you know, you gotta. If a boy buck up to you, which they will always do. I remember my brother bumped up to my father and he pulled a knife on him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I mean, as a parent, as a boy, for some odd reason, once they reach a certain age, they hang around their friends, you know, they smelling themselves and their chest get a little bit bigger. You gotta first things first is, even if you can't, I heard a comedian say, I don't spank my son. I fight that dude. And I'm like, wow. And it's just like, you know, you shouldn't have to do that with a boy, but the thing is, you always have to let a boy know, you know, I'm your mother, first and foremost. I brought you in this world, and like they always say, I'll take you out.
I'll take your ass
you
out.
have to sit down, you have to talk to him. You got to say, listen, I'm your mother. I'm the only woman in your life that will ever love you more than any woman that you ever will meet.
Mm-hmm.
And you let Nari know that too.
Oh, he knows. No, it's okay. It's okay because we need it. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Big City 101.3 FM. Waking up with Tayla Andre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. If you have any advice, we have a mother that inboxed us anonymously and said, Tayla, you know, I was in this beautiful relationship. I gave birth to this beautiful child. The father decided to leave. I don't think I can handle this. I don't think I'm equipped to be a mother by myself. I don't think I'm a good enough mom to be a single parent. And she's not worried about a boyfriend. She's not worried about a man. She's worrying about, how do I be everything my child needs to be now that the father's walked out? I don't know how to be a parent. What advice can you give me? And I'm like, let's ask the listeners, because I don't. What advice would you give to a new parent? And I don't care if you're a parent who's 100 years old and you have an 80-year-old child. You've watched that child grow all of the years of its life. What advice would you give to these new moms? What advice would you give to these new dads? I'm really interested in hearing from a parent that has, boys, or had a boy that was troublesome, that was hard to deal with, that didn't listen, that wanted to fight his mom. Like, how did you deal with that? And now he's like this excellent man who treats his wife with so much love and respect, and he's a great dad. How do you deal with that? I'm so thankful. I am so thankful that Anari has a fear of his father, and his father's an orange belt, so I really don't have to fight him. Go see your daddy. I ain't dealing with this one. And the respect is there, the love is there, the discipline is there on both sides. But I could not imagine being in this by myself and not having his dad to be like, what did your mother just say to you? So what advice do you have for these moms? What advice do you have for these dads? We just had a dad call in talking about his 4 girls and how his, as a daddy who was out there humping around, what that looks like today, being a father of 4 girls. You're rising caller, you're live.
Hello?
Hi, it's you, baby.
Hi, good morning, Taylor. There's 2 things she could do. First, if she goes to a local church.
Hold on, do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if she go to a local church and then, start joining in, and then there's a bunch of elders out there that's pretty good on that. Start with community church. If you can't get anything out of community church, you got uncles, not drunk uncles, like uncles that's doing stuff positive in their lives. To refer them to, especially if she has a boy. Boys really, like the brother said earlier, you have to keep them in check. I have my son. It's just sometimes he's 2
What do you mean
old.
spend more time, Benjamin? What do you mean spend more time?
Put him on check because he's trying to do anything to get away with stuff. Kids are smart nowadays. So I think the best way to do it is just join a community church that you think that you gonna like, and then there's a bunch of elders in there that's gonna help her out, and also look for her family. Because back then, the community used to raise our child. Nowadays, the community is doing worse. It's worse in the community. So I think that's the only way I would recommend her to do. Find a community church or not, if a family can help her out. Please do not bring your kids around folks that doesn't have their life in order. Because you're just wasting your time. You're just digging a hole for that kid to go into worse things. That's what I had to say, Taylor. I love your show. Keep it up.
Thank you. Love and appreciate you. 617-282-0062. What advice would you give to parents? Any advice? Newborn baby advice. You could have a child that's 3 months old. Guess what? You have more experience than the woman that's about to have a child. So don't think for 5 seconds that your advice is invalid, or you don't have enough experience, or, I made too many mistakes myself to let somebody else have some advice. Learn from your mistakes. What mistakes would you, if you have a 15-year-old boy and I could learn from your mistakes from the last 2 years that you have on me, please come learn me something. If you have a girl right now, as far as I'm concerned, because she has a newborn, and I gave her some newborn advice and, some childhood advice. I'm with the first caller. I've allowed my children to cultivate who they are, to become themselves. We had Anonymous said that I wish I let my child have a voice. I suppress my children voices. I was that child that was to be seen and not heard, and so I followed suit, and my children had to be seen and not heard, and I suppressed their voice. I was completely the opposite. My kids talk too damn much now. Like, no, how do you feel? Say your feelings. Don't just mumble. Nah, if you feel some type of way, use your voice. And now Anari is the great debater. It could be whatever topic, any topic. Nari, pick up your sock. I shouldn't have to pick up my sock because when Asaria came in my room, it got caught on her. It's your sock. Pick it up. Like, Anari is the greatest debater, and I did that. I take ownership of that. But how, just for any parents, all parents, what advice would you give to parents based on your experiences of things that you would have altered if you could go back in time? You can't go back in time, but if you could teach another parent how to be a better parent, and I think that's what we don't do. I don't think that we share best practices as far as parenting is concerned, because the last caller said it right. The community used to raise the child. It wasn't just one mother, one father. It was, you had about 60 mothers, you had about 60 fathers, about 22 grandparents. Like, we used to have a whole community raising our children. We don't share those best practices anymore. We don't share, those stories anymore. What happened? I don't care what happened. Let's get right. What can you do? What can I do? What can we do to be better parents? What mistakes did you make that one of us can learn from? 617-282-0062. I acknowledge callers on line 1, 2, and 3. Good rising, caller. You're live.
Hello, Tayla. How's it going?
I'm super fantastic. How are you?
Good. Hey, one thing that I think is very important is, like you said, that's the child who they wanted to always support them. Show them that you will always support them no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta basically talk to them.
But what does that mean, spend more time?
About anything. And this that's why
were you engaged in social media?
They can even talk to the kids like you're talking to an adult. None of that baby talk, none of this Google gaga. Talk to the child the way a child is supposed to be talked to. You know what I'm saying? And then they will learn a lot faster when you do that. Because I did that with my son, and now I'm like, sometimes I'm like, the things that come out of his mouth, I'm like, huh? Wow. You know what I'm saying? So, and you gotta always be there for the child. Don't, because this is the thing. Sometimes now, like having a child, you gotta try to. Your time is very limited, and your time is important. You still want time to yourself, but in the beginning, you gotta have to give up that time to that child. Don't think you can just drop off the child at the grandmother's house and then just take off because, you know what I'm saying, you want to go party. Because in the end, that's going to come back to bite you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come back to bite you in the rear if you do that. Because I see a lot of females and gentlemen do that, and then they wonder why, okay, now my son is, or my daughter is 8, 9, 10 years old, and they don't listen to me. Well, what were you doing the first couple of years when they were born that you thought they didn't understand what was going on? Because they're smart. Children, babies are very smart, so don't be fooled thinking that the child doesn't know what's going on. They know very well what's going on, so be very aware of that.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Love and appreciate you. Hope you have an awesome day today. So we have some Facebook messages. 617-282-0062. I guess callers 2 and 3 were like, I ain't got all day to wait. So if you want to call back, that's fine. If not, I understand. 617-282-0062. Really quickly, shout out to Paul Irving, who is actually the father of my niece and nephew. Kids need more than just parents. They need grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. Keep a good relationship with your kids, but also allow them to develop relationships with other family members. Get through the toddler years and try and have fun with it, because you miss it when they're older. But teach them as they grow. Too many parents want to do it for their kids rather than teach them, because it's easier, and it does the children no good in the long run. A father's job is a 24/7 job. Totally agree, Jeff. Shout out to you. Benjamin said, I'm saying that for me, spending more time with his kids. He said that he wished that he would have spent more time with his children. He wished he would have just been there more often. I tried to have him elaborate a little bit more, like, were you too busy on your phone? Were you too busy on business trips? And he's just like, period. It doesn't matter. just spend more time with your kids. We have a call on the line. I have another question that came in from Anonymous that I will answer after we take this call. Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good morning.
Good rising, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Super fantastic.
I want to say pay more attention. Just everything you do, be more conscious, alert. Make sure the baby stays strapped at all times. You always hear about people forgetting the baby in the car, going to work, and stuff like that. Everything you gotta do, you just gotta be conscious, alert, and you know what's right from wrong, and just make the best decision. Because, like you said, we ain't perfect, and you learn from all mistakes, and we all here make mistakes. So.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Just be more aware, be more conscious, be more present in the moment. All right, baby. Thank you for. That's okay, and we're sharing. Like, what mistake did you make that maybe the next person doesn't have to make?
Just to keep the baby strapped. Make sure the baby's strapped up.
Hi, you forgot the baby. Where you forgot the baby at?
I didn't forget the baby. So I'm going home. Got the baby in the stroller. I'm going up. You know those strollers, and they're attached to to the car seat.
Yeah, and then you just unhook it.
I had the baby out, unhooked it, and I got to fold up the thing, bring it inside. So I was like, I'm gonna do this. I was like, well, all right, whatever. So I did what I had to do. As I'm going up the stairs, I felt that the car seat's light. I look around, the baby's gone. The baby was gone, so I'm nervous, and I'm like, I just had the baby here. Luckily, the baby was laying on the step. The baby had rolled out, and the baby was laying on the step. I didn't have the baby strapped up.
Oh my gosh! How old was he or she?
Man, my baby was it was a new baby. It was a new baby. The baby was sometimes 3 months. The baby didn't fall. The baby rolled out. Because when I picked up, you know how the car seats rock?
Yeah,
So that's what happened. So as whatever, in the shower, so the car seat's light. So I'm looking. So when I'm looking, the baby's gone. So I run down the stairs, and then when I turned around, look, the baby's on the first floor, on top of the steps, sleeping. When I ran down, I had just jumped over the baby, missed everything, but the baby was still asleep. But the baby went to the hospital, everything was okay. Took the baby home.
Wow.
You just gotta be alert. You just gotta be alert.
That is so scary.
Yeah, listen, Mom never knew. I never said nothing to the mom. This is the first time I'm actually telling the story. You gotta be more alert. He's good now. He's 2nd grade. He's doing his thing.
Remember that one time I dropped you on your head? Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. He said, I ain't never said this before, but thank you for sharing your truth. Definitely appreciate that. Be more aware, be more conscious. Strap the baby in for the dads, and even for the moms. There's been plenty of times I've seen moms have babies on the hood, and I'm like, that is so unsafe. Especially when you're a new mom, because you're like, oh, I put the groceries in, forgetting that you're a parent and the baby's still in the hood. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. What advice do you have for these parents, whether you're an older parent, whether you're a new parent, whether you're a parent of a 20-year-old or a 2-year-old? What advice do you have, or would you even give yourself? What would you change? What would you alter about your parenting skills thus far? 617-282-0062. Good rising, caller, you live.
Good morning, honey.
Good rising, baby.
My advice is that I had to look into myself sometime and said, oh, if I could do things, if I get another chance again, I could do things over, I would do it another way. If you look at the things that you do another way, do it a different way than you did when you were much younger. Those are the skills that you're supposed to teach us kids, the way you could do it, not the way you did it, the way you could do it. And those are the things that I think could really change make your kid do the thing that is right. Because if you do something that is wrong when you were younger, you could think that if I could do things all over again, I would do it another way.
So basically learning from your parents' mistakes, whatever mistakes you feel your parents did, you do the opposite, and there you go, you corrected some wrongs already.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. I think that could really work as far as like love is concerned, because I think a lot of us that are over the age of 30, 35, we lived in a different time. Your feelings, your emotions didn't matter. We don't really care about your social, emotional needs. What I care about is you being obedient. You have a roof over your head. You have food in your belly. You have shoes on your feet. There's nothing for you to complain about. I don't have to spend time with you. We don't have to talk. Like, I love you and you're taken care of. That's it. And it was a different time then, So I think that as far as like being more aware, like the caller said, being more aware, being more conscious, being more present, spending that time with your children, having conversations with your kids. One of the questions that came in was just like, Tayla, I love the way your children are. I love who they are. What did you do? And the truth of the matter is, I had an Ari when I was 20 years old. I had a Saria when I was 22. My kids are my best friends. And I mean that. I mean that. Like, how they're like, oh, she treats it. I'll whoop their ass in a second. But those are my best friends. Those are who I confide in. And to be honest and to be truthful, those children give me more advice. And I seek advice from my children more than I seek advice from adults. Because they're honest. They don't care about my feelings. I know this is going to hurt your feelings, but this is the truth. This is how you could be a better person. They have no problem seeing a problem, identifying the problem, and letting you know what the problem is. Tell me what it is. Last night, we had an amazing Sunday. We went out to Fitchburg. We went to the Great Wolf Lodge with some of Anari's closest cousins and friends that we could afford to bring. And then, he just had an amazing time. Last night, he had dinner with his dad's family, his auntie, and his grandmother. And on the way home, he said, if I could repay you for everything you've done for me thus far, I'd owe you a lot of money. But you'd owe me some money back for the things I don't like. So that just, as far as the question that was directed towards me, we have open lines of communication. We talk about anything and everything. And nothing's off limits. Nothing's off the table. And I enjoy the relationship that I have with my children. And like the caller said, the last caller that said, learn from your parents' mistakes. That's what I did. I learned from my parents' mistakes. And I think there's more that I could learn from others that could make me a better parent. But my kids keep me on the straight and narrow. Like, I don't like XYZ. You need to improve this. And, it's coming together. I'm not the best, baby. Trust and believe. I have a lot of growing to do in all areas of life, and I accept that. Good rising, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Tayla.
Good rising.
Yes. As a father of 3, 24, 3 is Sunday, and a 5 next month. And as a parent, you have to be versatile. And you have to change and grow with your kids. My little 3-year-old, as he gets up, the brother is on. Daddy, what's this? Daddy, what's that? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And I answer every question, even though it's not necessarily the right answer. I'm like, hey, Daddy got to do this. What do you think? What do you think I'm doing? When he do something, I grab him up and I let him hear that lion roar. And when everything calms down, I pull him in, I give him a hug. I said, listen, why Daddy did this? Because when I talk to you, I want you to listen. Use your ears. Don't do that. And you have to cradle them and let them know that you love them. You got to let them know what time it is, but then you have to show them that tender love and cheer. My daughter on the other side, she's so different. When you talk to her, she listens. And my friend, I was talking to my friend that have other kids, and he's saying that my son is me with both alphas. So that's why we're knocking heads. So you got to listen to other people, but first of all, with the kid, you don't have you. It's all about your kid. You have to do everything for your kids. Make sure they're safe, and you have to be consistent. Everything you do, they have to expect, okay, 8:30, I'm getting ready for bed. You give them 5 minutes, 2 minutes warning, and trust me, once they get that, it gets easier. Okay, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. So stuff like that, there's little things you have to put in place, And this young mom, man, I tell you, my wife, she had two last kids with my wife right now, man. I respect single mother. They're so different, man. Women are so unique. I really respect females. But the single mom, she got to go with her gut feeling. Anything her gut tells her, or as a mom, there's something you grow with about your kids. You got to believe in that and trust that over anything else.
So trust her instincts. If anything, make sure she trusts her instincts.
That's key. Because as a mother, man, my wife, first 2 kids, and sometimes she have this thing about her that it's so, it's so true. So you have that. When you're a kid, you have that. She got to trust that, Don't just drop her kids with anybody and leave. She got to know who the person. You need time for yourself sometimes, but you got to leave your kids with people who you observe. In your community, you have other moms, you talk to them, and you can go on the internet, join mommy groups.
I love him.
Advice that way if you cannot go out and meet people, if you have work. There's different ways, but you have to learn, and the key is the little one in front of you. They teach you so much. You got to be patient. You can't bring your anger home. No, don't care how I'm stressed. As soon as I touch my door, when they keep coming and I heard those 2 coming, daddy, 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 everything. It's like I'm in a, like when you go into a candy store. That's how I feel when I go home. Everything changed. Half an hour before my wife even see me kissing her. It's all about my kids.
Oh, he's such a good daddy. I love daddies that love on their kids. I think that I don't know. I guess because society does not show us men being loving and affectionate to their children. I love seeing a daddy pushing a stroller. I love seeing a daddy picking up his baby and, kissing on them and loving on them. I love it. I love it. Well,
I don't care where I'm at. If my daughter not having a good time, I make a space. We're like in this booth. I pull her in. I'm like, what's going on, baby? Is everything okay? Talk to me. I want to hear what's going on. Are you scared? Don't be scared. Daddy's here. And that you have to have
that reassurance.
No matter where you are. That comes first. Kids, to pull them in. Because when I pull my daughter in, man, when she's scared of something, she just knows that safe zone. Daddy is here, And you got to talk to her like, I'm talking to you right now, Like last night I tell my son, 8:30, pick up those Legos. 3 times, boy, looking at me like, I didn't hear you. And I raised my voice, so I'm like, I said pick up the Legos now. What? Legos pick up in 5 minutes. And the Lego back. Right? All that Lego picked up, I called him, I'm like, come here, man, come here. I said, listen, when I talk to you, I want you to listen. I said, pick up the Legos, you should have picked up the Legos. Good job. And there's this little game that said clap high, clap medium, clap low, open it, chop the middle, open the door, and when you open the door, you just give him a tickle.
Oh.
That's so amazing, But again, with the young mom, man, she have her work cut out. She cannot be selfish. There's no her anymore. It's all about the kids. Whatever they need, whatever they want. You gotta pay attention to that.
I love your advice. Thank you so much. I think that was beautiful, that it doesn't matter how old your child is, that you can take that advice to be present, to allow your child to have that safe space no matter where you are, regardless of what environment you're in, making that bubble. Like when we're together, when we're in this space together, you can say what you want, say what you need, because I'm here. We could have this conversation, keeping your tone low, not always yelling and screaming at the child, but, explaining why, it's important. Do this, not just do this, but this is why I wanted you to do this. This is, the steps in which that you should take, and it teaches them. It helps them to develop and to grow and to maintain themselves as adults, because now they're understanding the steps. They're not just doing something. They're critically thinking why it's important to do so. So I love that advice, and that's for anybody. Anybody can take that advice. We're coming to the top of the hour, but I want to get these two callers in. The Rising Caller, you're live.
Hello.
Hi, baby. It's you.
Miss Taylor.
How are you, baby?
I'm good. How are you?
Super fantastic. How old are your children?
So I have 5 children. 20, 16, 9, 12, and 5. So I have 5 children.
3, 16, 9. Hold on. Say this again.
Okay, 20, 16, 12, 9, and 5.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the biggest advice I can give, which was given to me when my baby was a baby, was that you cannot bend a tree when it gets old. So when they're small and they're little, they're like branches, they're flimsy. You can teach them, you can mold them, they'll listen. But when they get older and they're a big stump, like a tree stump, you can't bend it. You know what I mean? So it makes a difference in how you can, what you can do. So when they're younger, it's easier to just, but the biggest advice I can give is just to love your children, talk to them about everything. And every child is different. You're never gonna have two children who are the same children. They're all gonna be different. They're all gonna need different things. So you have to try to help them according to their needs. That's my advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And I think that is really important, because sometimes I was actually having this conversation with my grandmother, and she was like, 2 children are not the same. You can't think that you can discipline a Nari the same way you can discipline a Saria. You can't talk to a Saria the way you talk to a Nari. They're 2 different individuals with 2 different DNAs that understand differently, that listen differently, that learn differently. As much as they may be similar, you have to understand they're not the same. Even if they were twins, they would still be different. And it's funny that the last caller mentioned that, because this was a conversation that me and Nana had just last week. You listen to old folks, like, you don't know what you're talking. No, I really didn't think that, Nana. Don't be mean. But I get it. Like, you cannot. Me and my sisters are not the same. Me and my brothers are not the same. But yet, we were all disciplined the same. We were all taught the same. And that goes to all the educators out there. You can't teach a child the same way. You can't teach a whole classroom of children the same way and expect the same result. They're all different. Hint, 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 hint. Good Rising Caller, you're live.
Good rising. How are you today?
I'm super fantastic. How are you, baby?
I am fine. Now, I missed the beginning. Is she carrying the child now, or she already had the baby?
She already had the baby. Her and the father had a beautiful relationship. She got pregnant, and then he decided one day that he no longer wanted to be a daddy. He didn't want to be in a relationship, so he left. And now she's a single mom raising this child, and she thought she was able to do this. Like, she thought it would be perfect. Whatever she didn't know what to do, he would make up for it. So she kind of relied on him. But now that he's no longer there, she doesn't think she's equipped or ready or prepared to raise this child that's already here. So from what I understand, the child is under 3 months.
So this is a grant. Okay, cool. All right. So my advice would be for her to, on a daily basis, read to that child. I don't know if somebody else already said that.
No, not yet. You're the first, baby. You're the first.
Okay. Start referring to that child, and this is for anybody. Anyone that has a child that's still learning, start referring to them as a leader. Start calling that child a leader. You'll be amazed at the way their mind will start changing and start trying to adapt that concept that they're a leader. While she's getting ready for work or whatever it may be, she may not be big in politics, but if she has one of the cable news networks, have that on. Just have it on in the house, so this child will start coming up socially, politically engaged and conscious of what's going on. Also, I would advise, even though it's bad right now with her and the father, try not to keep that child away from the father's family. Try not to do that. If his other siblings, don't wait till they get older and adults and then let them leave. Try to let them grow up. It's going to be hard, but she's going to have to put her feelings aside. If she can do that. Also, do not badmouth that father to that child. Whatever's going on, she can talk to her girls about it, she can talk to her siblings, but do not discuss that around the child. The child will come to an age and can make their own decision. But don't muddy that water. Let them build that relationship, because it's extremely important to have a relationship with the child and that child's family. Also, start teaching them about money. Even at a young age, let them know, okay, when you go into the grocery store, as this child gets older, you know, how much you're spending for this, or how you started clipping coupons to do that, how you balanced your checkbook. These are tools that the child will need to succeed. We gotta get out of that mindset of that the school is going to teach them that, because they don't. They need to learn that at home. Lastly, watch what you say around that child. Don't let anybody swear around that child. Use the N word, use the B word, use the H word. Think about the music you're playing. So she's going to have to make her a playlist that's just for that baby. All baby songs or whatever it may be, but not this rap or, you know, all this stuff that they're playing on the radio. The child does not need to hear that right now, because they absorb a lot. They absorb a lot. So we don't want that. We want this child to grow up as a future leader. So that would be my advice for her. And love her baby. Love her baby. They're going to make you laugh. They're going to make you cry. You're going to want to strangle them. You're going to be proud of them. It's going to be a mix of emotion. So she just needs to enjoy this. She can do it. Her mother raised her. Go to her mom. Go to her siblings. Go to her aunt. Go to her uncle. She has a network around her. She can do this. Just hang in there, and she will see. She will raise a productive member of society. That's all I have to say.
Baby, where you been my whole life? I needed you when I was pregnant.
But these are things I've learned as a parent. You know, and plus I had my daughter older, so I think they gave me a little advantage of having her older. I knew how the world worked at that time. I knew what my daughter needed in order to succeed in life. So that's all I had. I learned along the way too. Did the same thing, and it's working. My daughter's been watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Sometimes we don't like them, but sometimes, you know, since she was 5 years old, and she's conscious now. She understands what's going on. So I think that had a lot to do with it. So I know she'll be okay in this world. I know she'll be okay. She knows how to do a checkbook, all that. That was for money. She goes to the store with me. She sees me do it. She sees me go to the ATM. She knows what, you know, you got to put money in order to get money out.
Amen. Ashe, ashe. Oh, my goodness. Baby, I love and appreciate you. Thank you for your advice. There's some comments on Facebook, you guys, that you should definitely read. Shout out to Ron. Ron said that any parent who whines about being overwhelmed with parenting obligations should file a petition to modify the parenting times and give other parents parenting obligations. If you want to give the other parent parenting time, stop whining about it. Stop being overwhelmed. If the other parent has documented history of abuse and neglect of the child, only when one is whining permissible. But let's remember, it took two to make that child. Any parent who receives child support should remember both parents have a financial obligation to support their kids. A lot of complaints over expenses are covered by child support, blah, blah, blah. You know, I can't tell you how much the last caller's advice was so amazing on so many levels. Yesterday, Anari, again, we had that one-on-one conversation, and he was like, he said, now I understand why you'll have money today, and then I'll ask you for something, and the next day you say, I don't have it. He said, do you know how much money I had today? Do you know how much money I had yesterday? And how much money I have left over? I said, what did you buy? He said, I don't know. He said, now I completely understand why you said, no, I ain't got it. But you had money yesterday. Well, I don't have it today. He said, you really know how to take care. He made me so proud yesterday. But I bet you he's going to ask me for something else, though. I'm going to have to remind him. You remember when you had money and you spent it? And it's different. It really is different when your child has little $5, $4, $10 versus when they have $150 and then the next day they're like, where'd my money go? As a parent, I would say Anari and Asaria have been counting money since they could count. That's how we learned how to count, by counting pennies and then incorporating nickels and dimes and quarters. That was the easiest way for me because I can't count unless we talk about child support. So I did what I knew best. And for the new parents who don't know anything about anything, it is difficult. It is hard. It is the most rewarding but the most trialsome thing that you will ever experience. You will be asked questions you don't know the answer to. If you don't know the answer, Google probably can give you an idea of what the answer might be. So if you don't know the answer, allow your child to ask 1,000,001 questions. You want to know why Tayla Andre at 33 years old has more questions than a little bit? Because I couldn't ask any damn questions as a child. All my questions were suppressed. So sometimes as an adult, I'm like, hold on, but I have a dumb question. I've been thinking about this question since I was 7 years old. Didn't nobody have an answer for me then. And still today, we still trying to find the answers. So always let your kids ask questions. Allow them to grow to who they are. I'd like to say that I'm blessed and proud to be Anari and Asaria's mother because I know, Muhammad Ali said in the clip that I played earlier, you don't own your kids. You do not own your kids. You are a steward of your child. Your child came here. For all the parents who has a child over the age of 1, that baby came here with a destiny. That baby came here with a personality. That baby came here being who that baby was going to be. You just have to guide that child into growing who their soul already is. That child is not your property. You cannot make it do what you want it to do. And that's as far as jobs are concerned. Oh, Tayla, you should be a nurse. I don't like blood. I faint upon the sight of blood. It's not going to work out for me. Let that child be who that child is. Let them grow the way that their soul wants to grow. And just guide them. Be that guideline. That's it. When it came to my children, I felt as if I was the rails. Have you ever went bowling? And when you go bowling with children, they put those guardrails up. But that ball can go anywhere down that lane. But it has that guardrail up. And that's all for advice. What I would say for the new baby, be that guardrail. And allow your child to freely move wherever he or she wishes to go. And just make sure they don't fall into the gutter. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. The conversation don't end now. It sure does not. Keep it going. Talk to each other. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to the children the parents of the children your kids go to school with. Why? Because those are the children that are influencing your children. Those are the children that talk to your children about things your child may not necessarily know. Those are the children that your children are speaking to and teaching something to. So be friendly or engage with the parents of these children that your child is engaging with. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Mwah! Big City 101.3 FM.
DJ Sus won the feature presentation. Listen, make sure you wake up with Tayla Andre Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 a.m. on Big City 101.3 FM. Wake up with the Radio Rebel. Politics, news, conspiracies. Wake up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. It's the type of stuff I'm into, all right? Make sure you tune in. Let's go.
I completely forgot to give away tickets today. I was about to say Cracking the Blue Wall. She was a part of that as well. But Body and Sold. If you are interested in seeing Body and Sold, the documentary play based on true stories of children that were sex trafficked, please inbox me. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to win anything. If you're interested in seeing the play, I'm giving away 2 tickets for you and another individual, you and a child. They suggested anywhere in the 13 to 15 age range. But if you think you have a child that's 10, 11, 12 that can handle the content, please, by all means, bring your child out. Body and Sold, the documentary play that will be at Hibernian Hall this Thursday as well as Saturday. Thursday is free for everybody if you want to win tickets for Saturday, because that best suits your schedule. Please let me know. I have absolutely no problem with that. 2 tickets. The first person to inbox me, say, Tayla, I want the tickets, you can have it. All right? Body and Sold, Hibernian Hall this Saturday. I did not give any tickets away. I did not do any shout out to sponsors, but I do want to say shout out to ZC, best sushi on earth. Weekend sushi is half price. They have the best lychee martinis in the city. Jerry is absolutely amazing. He gets all of his fish 3 times a week. So you're going to have fresh fish, fresh food, great tasting food. Anybody who has ever been there will tell you it's amazing. The ambiance is amazing. You get free parking. They deliver in Roxbury at 1 a.m. in the morning, up to 1 a.m. in the morning. They deliver up until the Dorchester area where Blue Hill meets Columbia Road. And don't forget Faith's Natural, the Pum Pum Wash. You know it's hot out here. You need to rinse yourself out. And one of the things, if I may be transparent as far as parenting is concerned, Asaria is growing up. She's getting into those hormones. And the Pum Pum Wash is something that we started using together. So I wanted her to learn about, feminine cleaning and how to take care of herself in other areas. And together we use it. And she says that this is so transparent. She's going to beat me. She doesn't like soap. She's like, Mommy, it burns, it burns, it burns. With Faith Naturals Pum Pum soap or Pum Pum wash. Like, she likes it. It's mild. It doesn't have any harsh chemicals. It's all natural. And she likes it. She enjoys it. And this is something that not really has bonded us, but it's something that we do together that I don't know how to explain it, but as far if you have a teenage daughter, the Pum Pum Wash is absolutely amazing. Get them out of using soap and all these harsh chemicals and everything else. My phone's about to die. Do not forget, we have David Banner July 23rd at the Strand Theater. July 23rd, Strand Theater. We are looking for vendors. We are not announcing the packages until another 2 weeks, but when those come out, you're definitely welcome to take a look at them. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have an amazing day today.